Hello everyone. Today we are going to review the second movie in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. So this one starts off with Elizabeth and William preparing to get married, but it doesn't look like a very happy ceremony. It's a rainy day, and then all of a sudden there is a warrant for Elizabeth and William's arrest, obviously because they abetted or helped Captain Jack Sparrow get away from Commodore Norrington. And now he's missing, and he's also, I guess, a warrant is out for his arrest as well. And clearly he doesn't have the same status that he did. He left his posting months back, according to the governor. So now he's missing as well. And so William finds a way out. It's not really a way out. He's given a, I guess, kind of ultimatum. Bring the compass back to, and why can't I remember this guy's name? Which is why I'm going to look it up, because he does become a more important character. Oh my god, I had a brain fart there. Oh, come on, where is he? Yes. What was he? Anyway, Beckett. Cutler Beckett is his name in the movie. Now, why can't I think of what his title was? Damn it. I'm trying to think. Anyway, so Beckett is a very important character. He has a history with Captain Jack Sparrow because he works for the East India Trading Company. And if you remember that from the first movie, Commodore Norrington said to Captain Jack Sparrow when they first catch him, he pulls up his arm and said, "Oh, had a brush-in with the East India Trading Company," because he has the brand of P, which stands for pirate, on his arm, which obviously is not what you want if you were living in those times. You didn't want to be branded, that's for sure, because that would have put a mark on your back, and you would have been hung just for living a life of piracy, let alone all the other stuff you did outside of that while you were living that life. So William is now going to hunt down Jack, and Jack is in search of the key to Davy Jones's locker. I guess not the locker, but the chest that holds his heart, because I don't know what kind of debt he owed Davy Jones, but I guess he was a captain of a ship for 13 years, or at least he introduced himself that way for 13 years as captain. So I guess you kind of owe some sort of debt to Davy Jones. So Captain Jack Sparrow has to get 100 souls, because I guess that's what Davy Jones thinks his soul is worth, is 100 souls. So he obviously gives up William as the first one without William's knowledge, but then William meets his dad, Bootstrap Bill, in the process, and is trying to find the key for himself at this point so that he can kill Davy Jones and free his father. Obviously, Jack doesn't want that because of the beast that Davy Jones controls, known as the Kraken. So they end up getting into this huge fight. But when Will first finds I'm laughing at this scene just in general because it was just so funny. When Will first finds Jack, he's basically become like this god to this cannibalistic tribe. So Obviously, who was it? Gibbs talks about the fact that they want to release him from his fleshy prison, so they're going to kill him and eat him, referring to Jack after they've been put in these cages made by the rest of the crew, which was just like, yeah, I think this film might have been the darkest one out of all of them, to be completely honest, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know, besides maybe the newest installment to the series, but oh my god, I'm thirsty today. Anyhow, where was I? Yeah, might have been the darkest movie out of all of them. Just right from the opening prison scene to the cannibalistic tribe, obviously getting ready to cook Jack, and obviously making cages out of the bones of the rest of the crew. And I think one of the funniest scenes was probably half the crew who weren't there in the first movie. Obviously, because Jack made his crew a lot bigger. He's probably been to Tortuga a couple more times than was shown in this movie over the course of, I don't know how long it's actually been, probably at least a year, at least a couple years, because I guess, yeah, the first one was made in 2003, and this one was made in 2006. So yeah, I guess maybe that was kind of the timeline they were going by, was it's been about 3 years, which would make sense for all those moves to have happened, I suppose. But we do find out that the compass is far more important than what we thought in the first film. It just kind of seems like a useless object in the first film, but it does become very important in this film because it points to the thing you want most. It might not point north, but it points to the thing your heart desires the most. So obviously Jack is trying to get everybody to desire the chest that contains Davy Jones's heart. Norrington is actually able to get a hold of the heart during one of the fight scenes where they all end up somehow on the same island, including with Davy Jones himself close by. At least his crew is able to get on. I guess Davy Jones can't go on land all but once every decade. So he's not actually able to step foot on any land, so he has to send in his crew, and if his crew fails, obviously, he'll just punish them with more service, I guess, towards him, because that's basically the only punishment you can be provided with after you're already dead and on his crew, is just more years of service. And the original, I guess, timeline of service is 100 years, or at least that's what he offers to people who are either close to dead or dying. So obviously when he finds out that Bootstrap's son is on board, he tries to put a rift between the two of them, right, which ends up kind of backfiring on him because Bootstrap, or Bill Turner, I guess, saves William in the end when they were doing the game of chance with the dice. I'm not really sure what they called it, but yeah, William says, I'll serve an eternity on your ship, and all you have to give up if you lose is the key. And then his dad steps in, and William says, why would you have done that? All I wanted to know was the location of the key. Now that I found that, I'm going to be able to free you. That was my whole plan anyway. So his father kind of intervened at an inconvenient time. I know he meant well after all these years, because he feels like he left William behind to go live the pirate life, and then ended up dying in the process after trying to defend Jack from his mutiny. They threw him overboard as well, and yeah, the rest is kind of history there, because now we know that he's serving his time under Davy Jones. So, yeah, Norrington is able to get the heart. Now that I'm kind of back on track to that point, he is able to get it back to Beckett. So I guess I'm not sure whether he actually ends up getting his status back or not, does he? I honestly can't remember now. It's been so long since I've seen these movies that I can't remember how some of them even go. Like, I was glued to the screen the entire time watching this one, just trying to remember it all. But I would say this one was by far, it was dark, but it also had more of the comedy moments, uh, especially when they're all trying to get away from the cannibals and they're like rolling down the hill in the bone cage, and Jack is uh, has this whole, like, I guess the spit they were going to roast him on. He's tied to it, so he ends up falling through a whole bunch, like, down this, like, huge, like, cliff in between two cliff sides, I guess, through these a whole bunch of bridges. And I never thought about this before, but the reason that he didn't die and would have been because the monkey took the coin from the Cortez's chest at the end of the first movie. So technically, I believe that means that Jack is immortal again. Because, yeah, I think that's how that works. I don't know whether you have to be actually holding a coin yourself, or whether it's just... See, now he did hold a coin himself in the first movie, but then the curse was lifted and the monkey took the coin again, so wouldn't that mean that everybody was once again cursed? It's kind of, there's kind of a gray area in there, I suppose, but anyhow, that's how I took that, is that because otherwise he definitely would have probably perished from that fall for sure, because it was a long drop. Even though there was, the bridges in between to kind of break his fall, that would still hurt because it was a long fall. So then he goes to meet, now what was her name in the movie? It must have been Tia, played by Naomi or Noemi Harris. I'm not sure. One of those two. Anyway, her name in the movie is Tia. So I guess we're kind of learning the people that Jack has had a history with over the years while he was, I guess whether he was captaining or just kind of like on his own trying to get his ship back. I'm not really sure where she fit into the timeline, but anyhow, they had some sort of history together. So he goes to see her to, obviously while he's in search for the key to the chest, and she finds out that he has the black spot. So she gives him this jar of dirt, which Jack tries to hide the heart in, but fails miserably because Norrington is too smart for that and realizes that the heart is in the jar of dirt and not in the chest anymore. So he takes the chest, stuffs the heart in his shirt, making it look like he, sacrificed himself for the heart, but really he had it the entire time. So then at the end of the movie, they go back after the Kraken attacks the Black Pearl, and earlier on in the movie, there's kind of like this weird tension between Elizabeth and Jack throughout the movie. It's kind of comical. You can tell that even Jack wants to be with Elizabeth. He considers her, I guess, a love interest as well. So there's obviously this huge rift between all three of these guys, right? Trying to prove that they're worthy of Elizabeth's love. So then when Elizabeth sees him abandoning ship during the Kraken attack, he does come back and save them because that's what his heart truly desired. But Elizabeth ties him to the ship and he is swallowed by the Kraken. But the way she does it is by kissing him and then tying him to the boat, which I guess might have been kind of revenge for the first movie when he used her as a scapegoat to get away the first time. Even though it didn't work for him, he ended up in prison anyway. So, yeah, I guess maybe that was kind of payback, but I also think it was... She was mad at him for lying to her about what he had done to William, obviously, because he had said that William was trapped on the boat. He didn't tell her that he had sent him over there to, help pay his debt off, right? So he does lie, but he does tell the truth a lot of the time, because even Norrington didn't believe him about the heart, and then when they found out it was real, Jack delivers this line that says, I do tell the truth a lot of the time, and people find it unbelievable because he is deceitful most of the time too. So you never really know when he's telling the truth. It's kind of hard to tell with Jack, and he's always on whatever side is most beneficial to him, right? So then at the end of the movie, when they're back at Tia's going over what Tia kind of tells him there is this way to get Jack back to go to the end of the world, or at world's end. And she says, but they're going to need a captain who knows the waters. And then all of a sudden you see these boots come down, and I recognized the boots right away. I don't know if I did when I first saw this movie in theaters, but I recognize the boots every time now because I just know the scene. It's one of the most iconic scenes. And then obviously it's Captain Barbossa. He comes down the stairs. So that kind of proves my theory even further, that the monkey taking the coin brought Barbossa back to life. So obviously they are all still cursed in a way, I guess, because it doesn't actually show them turn into skeletons in this movie, so it's kind of odd, because there were certain scenes where there would be moonlight. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's a gray area, but I think that would be how it worked. If the monkey took the coin, they'd all be cursed again, right? Because there's missing treasure, which would mean they would have to perform the ritual all over again. So now we know that Captain Barbossa is back, and he is obviously going to be the captain of the ship, because he asks where the Black Pearl is and then he bites into like what looked like the poison apple from the first movie. So yeah, super excited to get into the third movie now. And also at the very end credit scene, because there always seems to be something, it's just kind of the dog on the island with the bone in its mouth with the cannibalistic tribe. So I guess they were kind of foreshadowing that the dog is going to be the next god that they eat. I mean, they need food, so regardless of what it is, I'm not going to judge them. They live on an island in the Caribbean in a totally different time, so I'm sure food sources weren't as big back then. They probably had a very scarce amount of food sources. Clearly, if they were eating people, there wasn't much left on that island for them. But I will give this movie, I have to give the movie a 10 out of 10 too, because I gave the first one a 10, and I think this might be my favorite one in the series, just due to some of the scenes and the laughs that you can get into this one. The first one was a lot more serious. This one was a lot more comical. And I can't remember how the third one really goes, but I think it took itself more seriously too. They kind of go back to the more serious side of things as they get later on in the series. But yeah, I think this one was my favorite out of the entire series. It's just one of those ones that you can watch over and over and over again and never get bored of it, just because of the comedy factor in it. I mean, there's a little bit of comedy in each one of these movies, but this one was definitely the funniest out of all of them, as far as I remember. Maybe I'll change my opinion of that as I go on in this series, but anyhow, that is all I have to say for this movie, because this has been almost 20 minutes, and I'm not surprised that I talked about this movie for that long, because I think it's my favorite of the series, even though I gave the first one a 10 out of 10. That's just for the nostalgia factor of that one, obviously. As I explained in that review. So, as always, whoops, I almost knocked the camera right down. Share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. I can't imagine many people my age not having seen this film, but some people aren't as into movies as I am, but it is a passion of mine, clearly, as you can tell from my channel. I like doing this stuff. And if you haven't seen the film, definitely go watch it before watching this review, because it'll just spoil the whole movie for you, and you won't even have to go watch it, because I explained so much. But anyhow, that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.